And so Missy says, is it the autism and rigid thinking or sensory issues that cause kids with autism to not want to eat various foods? It seems that my child decides that he doesn't like foods that he previously liked. What do you want to say about that?
I think the whole eating factor is just like other kids. They all have various reasons for why they're not eating, you know. I always say I had a 1-year-old who was eating salsa and green. Her favorite thing was tomatoes, like at 18 months. And my other one at 2 basically told me, you're not supposed to eat green things.
Right.
You walk on grass that's green, but you don't eat them.
So they kind of create these rules for themselves.
And I always talk to families. I said, you kind of have to test it out and, you know, watch your child and see what their response is. And there are some kids that will not eat certain shapes of food, some that won't eat certain colors, some that do have the sensory where it's just tactilely. It's just very defensive and they can't stand the feel of it. Some crave certain tastes and some find certain tastes just awful, like they can't stand it at all. But I'll go through and try, you know, we'll try different times. And you're saying that this child actually will start to eat something and then stops eating it. Sometimes it's an obsession. And when the obsessions change, it's a perseveration that is changing just like all their other wants and needs. Sometimes we think it's the same food and you changed one ingredient and they figured out that ingredient change and they don't want it anymore just because it's not the same. It's the routine that they want. Some people, I had a family who the child would only drink things if it came out of a Jack-in-a-Box cup, coffee cup. And that's the only cup she would drink it out of. And they were like, for whatever. So parents would just pour anything into this cup and say, have your coffee. And she had coffee because grandma had coffee from Jack-in-a-Box.
So it felt like big girl thing.
It was big girl, but also it was the routine. Grandma does this every day, so I'm going to do it with her. And as long as it was in that cup, she would drink anything that was in it. Like there's so many different reasons why the kids have their preferences. And it really is slowly going through each one and trying to figure out what is it that is the routine. Because a lot of it is routine-based. The sensory it's a sensory tactile, and that's where you work with your occupational therapist or your speech therapist or your ABA person to systematically desensitize the child to that feeling or that texture. But I can't tell you from here what exactly it is that your child is changing their preference for their food.
But I think the empowering thing that we all need to recognize is that your child can be very rigid with food and that can be changed. And that your child can get to the point where they eat other things. I see people all the time. It's very interesting to me that people with neurotypical children, neurotypical children are like, he will only eat French fries from Burger King and the nuggets from McDonald's. And so they will go through those 2 drive-thrus for their neurotypical child. And I'm like, well, when did he become the boss of how this goes?
Completely.
Like what? Like, and you're just okay with that? And you're going to you've seen the movie Super Size Me, and that's what you're going to feed your child for the next however long until he stops it? Like, there's a little part of me that goes, why are you just accepting this? And I think that's probably the ABA mom in me, because I've seen that, you know, sometimes it's really slow, but that you can totally change. Here's a great example. If we had the A word to show you, there was a period of time in which when they started working with Jack Riley that he had big food issues.
Oh yeah, he did.
And like if you showed him a banana, a real 3-dimensional banana, he would cry. Like it was just that aversive for him. And Dad was really concerned about it. He was like, you know, my child needs to be able to eat healthy food and he can't go through life crying when he sees a banana. And so they showed all the different ways that they desensitized him until the day, and it was probably 8 months later that he sat there and ate a banana all on his own. And you know, in the scheme of things, you know, we go, oh, well, they got it done. But for that family, that 8 months, they were like, are we ever going to get there? Is that ever going to happen? But later, it's so funny how time plays tricks on you. Later, everybody was like, oh, it only took eight months. But it was a long 8 months.
But I have to tell you, a lot of our kids come in who have reflux when they're babies.
Yeah.
And we had a child come in who, he was 4, and if you showed him a plate, he would throw up. That's how aversive food was.
Wow.
Is you showed him a plate and he would immediately vomit because his association with it, and he had a terrible history. And mom actually ended up removing him from all the medications because just there's too many side effects. And she went the naturopath way. And this kid, I think when he was 9, and we worked with him. We did food for the first 2 years, where we were just getting the healthiest foods into him and got him eating, but he didn't enjoy eating. And it wasn't until he was 9, his dad called me one day and said, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it." He woke up and said he was hungry, and he actually asked for food, and it was the food that they've been trying to get him to eat forever.
Right.
And they thought the day would never come that he would like food.
Right.
And you know, and it's cool now because he actually does a cooking show.
Oh, look at how that all
Because he loves
works
food now, because he
out.
has full control, and he just he loves the whole process, the variety. But I always say, like when he came in at 4, if you showed him a plate, he would just vomit immediately, no matter where he was, because food was just so aversive to him.
So the lesson is, you know, you got to work on these things and not be afraid to work on them, because strength over time equals power, and it happens. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.